dignitaries and participants who have joined us today. As you are aware, the country is celebrating 75 years of progressive India. In this direction, Department of Science and Technology has initiated a year-long program called VIGYAN UTSAV to showcase science, technology, and innovation ecosystem in the states and union territories and their contribution towards Atmanirbhar Bharat. So the theme for the month of July is Atmanirbharata in industry. As you know, the industrial development has had an important role in the growth of the country. Also, the research and development has been the main driver for the technological spur we have witnessed in past few decades. Presently, 30% of our country's GDP is contributed by industry sector. India has already witnessed the world its strengths in many sectors ranging from the manufacturing of bicycle, auto parts to the satellites, defense technology, medical technology, vaccine production, semiconductors, and many more. As a country, we are committed to pursue further efforts to acquire a competitive advantage through advancements in R&D. The flagship initiatives like Make in India and Atmanirbhar Bharat are being promoted by Indian government in this direction. So today's focus of the talks would be to showcase industry's contribution towards Atmanirbharta and key learnings from industry academia partnerships which steer the growth of industry. To begin with, let me first invite Engineer Prithpal Singh, Additional Director, Punjab State Council for Science and Technology, to extend welcome on the behalf of organizers. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Pali. Uh, Good morning to all the participants in the today's webinar on Vigyan Utsav Punjab, Atmanirbharta and Industry. I, on behalf of Punjab State Council for Science and Technology, take privilege in welcoming our guest today. As we all are aware that during pandemic, global supply chain has been affected, and our Prime Minister introduced Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan in May 2020 with the goal of making India self-sufficient in global supply chain and develop India a global manufacturing center. Prime Minister has also called on industry to become Atmanirbhar or self-reliant, and the attaining of high rates of manufacturing growth and becoming globally competitive would be difficult if there is a large import content in the manufacturing of products. Post-pandemic and Ukraine war has forced India to accelerate Atmanirbhar mission as a globally supply chain can be affected due to these crises and including geopolitical reasons also. For global competitiveness, industries need to produce to have production costs lower than the most efficient manufacturing centers worldwide, high degree of responsibility in making appliances, making supplies, quality assurance, and high volume of production. Some of the industrial sectors have already demonstrated high volume of production, especially in pharmaceuticals, automobiles, and mobile phones. Growth of personal protective equipment from limited number in March 2020 to 4.5 lakhs per day pieces per day in July 2020 is a fine example of self-reliant India. The PPE industry in India became 100 billion rupees industry in 3 months, which was the second highest after China. Government of India in past few years has been ensuring that industry gets lot of push in terms of policy decision, interventions on taxes, tax issues, ease of doing business, and several other aspects. It is the time for the industry to take up new opportunities and tackle new challenges and work in sync with the government to realize the goal of self-reliance. Industry also need to keep in mind that the international competitions, customer choice of particular product and demands while making new products. Today we have eminent speakers from government, industry, R&D institutions, advisory consultants to share their vision about Atmanirbharta and industry. I take honor in welcoming Dr. Devapriya Datta, Advisor, State S&T Program, Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, for their guidance and support in executing this year-long pan-India initiative on Vigyan Utsav as a part of Azadi Ka Mahotsav. I also welcome Dr. H.K. Sardana, former Chief Scientist, CSIO, Chandigarh, currently member Arunachal Pradesh Private Institute Regulatory Commission, Mr. H.S. Chima, Chairman, Messer Chima Boilers Limited, leading boiler manufacturers of the region, Dr. P.J. Singh, he would be joining very soon, CMD, Tynor Orthodontics, and which is the #1 brand for orthopedic appliances and fracture aids. And he is also a vice chairman of CII Northern Chapter. Mr. Upinder Singh Dhingra, Senior Manager ENY, would also be sharing his idea. I also welcome Mr. Jatin Sood, a young entrepreneur from Mandi Gobindgarh, which is a steel town of Asia. I heartily welcome our guiding force, Dr. Jitendra Kaur Arora, Executive Director, Punjab State Council for Science and Technology, and Member Secretary, Punjab Biodiversity Board. Lastly, I also welcome participants from other state S&T councils, industry, academia, universities, and my colleagues from Science and Technology Department. Thank you. Jai Hind.
So much, sir. Now, for the opening session, I would invite Dr. Jatinder Kaur Arora for sharing how STI is contributing towards Atmanirbharata through industrial development in Punjab. Dr. Arora is Executive Director of Punjab State Council for Science and Technology, as well as Member Secretary of Punjab Biodiversity Board. She is steering multifarious initiatives of science popularization, demonstrating technological interventions to address grand challenges of the state and unmet needs of the industry, also promoting biodiversity conservation, protection of intellectual property rights, and integration of climate action in development planning. She has been engaged in research, teaching, and administration in various capacities during the last 35 years and has the global exposure experience also. She has been conferred with National Award for Women Development through application of Science and Technology of Ministry of Science and Technology, Government of India, conferred by President of India, Punjab Sarkar Parman Patra by Government of Punjab, and Great Women Award by Indian Television Academy. I once again invite you, ma'am, for your address. Over to you.
Thank you. Mandeep, can I have my presentation? It's indeed a pleasure to see here Mr. Sardana. Welcome, Sardana ji. Long time we haven't met. Mr. Chima, Dr. P.J. Singh is joining shortly. Dr. Datta is joining. I can see many other esteemed guests as well. I can see Mr. Ashwini Kumar and several others. In fact, this is a very novel initiative that we together conceptualized, Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, and all the states. We had a brainstorming and we thought India is in its 75th year of independence. In true sense, what can we all do to celebrate it? We thought, let's celebrate the advancement in science and technology that we have made possible after independence. And for that, we conceived this year-long celebration. We thought every month, let's take all the stakeholders along and talk about one component of science, technology, innovation ecosystem. And it's been a very thrilling journey, I can share with you. I have thoroughly enjoyed every moment. One, preparing for it, that what is it that the everybody present on the this web platform would enjoy listening to, and secondly, sharing about it. We've covered the institutions in Punjab, we have covered the human resource being developed in Punjab, we've covered indigenous technology. So everything, this month the entire nation is celebrating Atmanirbharata and industry through this VIGYAN UTSAV initiative, which, as I said, is a joint initiative of Government of India and all the states. I really take, Mandeep, I can't move my slides. Are you moving the slides? Okay. So I really take pride in sharing. I'm sure everybody present here, there are many students also I can see present on for today's event. I'm sure you all are aware that up till almost 2 decades after our independence, we were from in the ship to mouth condition as far as the food sufficiency was concerned. And I'm sure again all of you would be aware that at that point of time, the question was, where do we direct our resources towards? And the country decided to direct the resources towards building the industrial strength of the country. So most of the resources were being pumped towards that, especially building the heavy industries. And in that condition, in order to strike a balance, in order to have food for everyone in the country, we were depending on the food supplies being provided by US. I'm sure you would have heard of the PL 480 program. The ships would land and then the millions of mouths would be fed. That was the condition we were in at that point of time. And at least as I hear and also very vaguely remember also that there would be long, huge queues, lines outside the ration depots to get the supply of grains. But today's generation can't relate to that. We can't really see such scarcity today. It's primarily because of the state we are in. Punjab has led the country in bringing it from a food deficit to a food surplus country now. And also happy to share that if everybody in the country was to consume milk, and within your state how much milk can be available for every citizen, if you look at those statistics, the statistics are the highest as far as Punjab is concerned. We have highest per capita milk availability in Punjab. And if you look at the difference, it's a huge difference. You can read here in the slide, 1181 gram per day is the milk availability in Punjab as compared to the national average, which is 394 grams, say threefold high milk availability. And this has been possible, the kind of agriculture that we have is possible besides, of course, the huge amount of research having gone into bringing the high yielding varieties, the farm inputs. Lot of credit goes to the farm mechanization as well. Similarly, when I talk of the milk availability, lot of credit goes to the high-tech dairy farming that we have in Punjab. We have close to 10,000 high-tech dairy farmers in Punjab. And when I talk of MSME, we have strong presence of MSME, more than 2 lakh units in the state of Punjab. Mandeep, there is a box appearing on the slide. You will have to take care of that. Perhaps you have made me the host as well. So people are asking for approvals to enter. So please take care. Otherwise, this box remains on my screen. I don't know if those who are watching can see this, but I can see this. There is a box. So IT team, Mandeep, please take care of that. And also would like to take pride in sharing that Punjab is in the top 10 most innovative major states of the country. I'm sure you all know at the global level a ranking happens wherein the countries are placed in the order of their innovativeness. India is now in the top 50 most innovative nations, and likewise at the at the country level, we have innovation ranking, and there are major states and so on. So India is in the top 10 major states. Punjab is in the top 10 major states as far as innovation ranking is concerned. Go to the next slide, Mandeep. I can't move my slide. Something is okay. So having said that, having shared with you that we have more than 2 lakh MSME in Punjab, we have about 17 major industrial sectors in the state. And in this slide, you see some of the ones which are very prominent sectors. Talking of, say, I'll pick up one by one at least 2, 3 of these sectors to give you a flavor of where we as a state stand. Uh, Starting with iron and steel industrial cluster. Just now, while Pritpal, my colleague, was speaking, he said he introduced one of the speakers briefly, Jatin. He was welcoming, saying he is from Steel Town of Asia. I hope all of you are aware that Mandi Govindgarh is known as the Steel Town of Asia. And this is despite the fact that we don't have our own resources of ores and minerals, which means we have a huge constraint as far as raw material availability for this sector is concerned within the state. We do not have raw material for this sector, yet we have the steel town of Asia. This has become possible. I again take a lot of pride in sharing because of the consistent hand holding for providing technological interventions to this cluster, and that too primarily by my own team. So this cluster is one of the most energy efficient cluster, or as far as the rolling steel and iron cluster is concerned, most energy efficient cluster with the fuel consumption which is half than the national average, and it has made itself globally competitive, one because of its energy efficiency, saving on the fuel costs, and also while doing so, it has moved to the path of being industry 4.0. This seems strange, these are small industries. But if you look at the changing scenario again within the span of last 1 or 2 years, if you look at, for example, within the same premises, one would see one unit which is totally on coal, and in the same premises another unit which is on cleaner fuel, that is PNG. And in order to convert to PNG, it has brought in large scale automation, which has brought huge respite to the workforce also, which is working within the industry, because the GHG emissions have been brought down significantly. And also Jatin is here from one of the I would say very forthcoming industrial unit of Mandi Govindgarh. He will share with you. They are now branding their steel as green steel because of the cleaner technologies that they have adopted. Touching another major industrial sector of Punjab, tractors and auto parts, as you saw in one of the slides, is another major industrial sector that we have here. Punjab is India's largest tractor manufacturing state. I have picked up one example of one industry from this cluster, Mahindra and Mahindra, which is the top patent filing industry from the state. Not only in the tractor cluster, but overall also, when we talk of patent filing by industry, this is the top patent filing company. And these are the numbers if you look at. I'm just sharing the figures relating to last 1 decade. 287 patents, that IPRs that they have filed, And what is the advantage for them of going into this large scale innovation and also protecting their intellectual property is that they create entry barriers for the other competitors, and also they are filing in the foreign countries, and which makes them the first move, give them the first mover advantage in the foreign markets as well. So I'm again sharing one of their product, which is called Code. It's a small tractor. Um, and it's beautiful to share this example. It's really amazing to share it with you that for making of this one product, 109 patents and 72 industrial designs have gone in to this single product. And this is it has clear advantages, like it provides a bidirectional movement, dual ground clearance, and so on and so forth. So they've really captured the international market by their strategy for innovation and strategy for protecting their innovations. And if I share with you the scenario for benefit of all present here, I would like to share with you that in Punjab State Council for Science and Technology, we host the Patent Information Center, which is supported by Department of Science and Technology, Government of India, and which has also been recognized as India's first technology innovation support center by World Intellectual Property Organization of United Nations. So, giving you the figures, of patent filings within the last 1 decade. If you look at the graph on the left-hand side of the slide, you can see within the last 3-4 years, the patent filings have significantly increased. There is a steep rise in the curve. This has also become possible because our Patent Information Center has gone further and set up IPR cells in all the key universities and institutions in Punjab. And that is also the reason that if you look at this pie in the slide, which gives you a bifurcation of 4,500 patent applications filed within the last 1 decade. This is a thing to ponder over, that within this pie, the patent applications which are coming from industry, the total number of patents published, only 6% is from the industry. So since today's theme is Atmanirbharata and industry, this is a food for thought for my colleagues present here from industrial sector. And taking you to the next slide, having talked about patents, when I talk about industrial designs, every year about 200 industrial designs are filed by from the institutions and industry in the state of Punjab. And if I give you the figures of the last 1 year, say 5 years, and this pie reflects that. And here the trend is opposite. The industrial designs filed by the industry are highest, and as high as 97.5% of this whole pie, and rest 2.5% comes from the academia. Mandeep, the presentation has gone away. If you can again share it, I think something. There was some technical glitch. Yes, I can see it now. So taking you forward, these are the top design filing districts you can see on the lower end of the slide. And again, talking of design filings, the highest design filing happens from bicycle sector. So as I'm sure many of you would be aware, that country's 75% bicycle production and 92% bicycle component production comes from Punjab. And new variants such as, majority of industrial design filings are happening for, say, baskets, crank assembly, tires, and so on and so forth. These are the top filing industries as far as bicycle sector is concerned. You can read the names on the top right bottom of the slide. And our partner institutions like CSIO, my own teams have been interacting extensively with this cluster. We are also developing a Science Technology Innovation Observatory of Punjab, wherein besides other data pertaining to holistic development of science and technology in the state, we also plan to highlight the unmet technological needs of industry so that the institutions, the research and institutions can be aligned with that. So these are some of the tech requirements put forward by bicycle cluster. Left hand side, for example, lightweight materials, carbon and alloy based frames, and so on and so forth. Taking you to the next prominent industrial sector of Punjab, textiles. Again, I'm sharing one very interesting example. If we talk of Trident, it is the second top patent filing industry from Punjab, the largest yarn producer in India, $1 billion US company. And just again sharing the value of innovating, value of protecting your innovations. Trident recently, last year itself, came up with a process to produce a softer fabric without any usage of chemicals, but following a process of increasing the space, within the yarn. And this technology for towels they produced, and they protected their IP by and the patent was granted by European Patent Office. And very interesting phenomena we could see that the day this patent was granted to them, and it was the news flashed in the everywhere, the same day the stocks of the company went up by 4% in the stock market. Now this is another sector, semiconductors, and we have the Punjab is the only state which has state-of-the-art semiconductor lab here that we have in Mohali, and we are really eyeing at this sector's enhancement. Our Department of Industries has already approached MIT for supporting us with the Fab Lab. We are also from Science and Technology side are planning to approach Principal Scientific Advisor to Government of India, to support us for building this sector. As you know, we are more than 90% of our semiconductor requirement is met through imports, and there is a crisis, recent crisis because of the COVID and the situation which created by Russia and so on. So India is really looking at Atmanirbharata in this particular sector, and we envisage there is a full-fledged India semiconductor mission which has been set up at the Government of India level with budgetary outlay of more than 70,000 crores. So that's where we look at this sector to be another very vibrant sector in times to come. And sharing with you another interesting development in Punjab, Atmanirbharata in industrial fuels. Major fuels that are used in industries are coal and furnace oil. And I'm sure everybody is aware that they contribute to high greenhouse gas emissions and particulate matter emissions. And recently, after the Conference of Parties, I'm talking of climate change action, India announced it has hiked up its commitments towards climate change action. Earlier, we were committing about 33 to 35% reduction in emission intensity by 2030. But very recently, Prime Minister announced that by 2030, we will reduce our 45% of our emission intensity as percentage of our GDP. And by 2070, India has committed to be a net zero country. So, which means that we have to very actively look at the alternative fuels. And also the fuel prices as far as coal is concerned are steeply rising. Within the last 1.5 years itself, it has risen from say 10,000 to 28,000, say threefold increase, per ton. There has been about threefold increase in the prices. So industry, in order to stay competitive, is looking for alternate fuels. And we produce about 17 million tons of paddy straw every year, which can be a very, very potential industrial fuel. And the state has taken a leading position in exploring this possibility. 11 biomass-based power plants have been already set up, and my own teams have led the development of two state-of-the-art, first of their kind paddy straw briquetting units in Punjab, and we are backing it up with the policy developments. Already we've got an amendment made in the state's industrial policy, wherein the paddy straw based units are getting the fiscal incentives. And also recently we have put up a draft notification of a policy. It's presently available on our website. It has been, public notice has been put up in the newspapers that at least one industrial sector, that is brick kilns. We have more than 2,500 brick kilns in Punjab. It will be made mandatory for all the brick kilns to at least use 20%, replace 20% of their coal with paddy straw pellets. And this we have done after demonstrating, establishing the technology protocol that this can practically be done at ground level. I think I'll end my, what I have to say here by sharing this food for thought with you. I'm especially sharing because Dr. PJ Singh is here. He is the, Vice Chair of CII Punjab. Mr. Chima is here. He's chaired CII Punjab. So what I want to share with you is that at the moment we have only 27 companies in Punjab which are registered with the Department of Scientific and Industrial Research of Government of India. And if anybody has to gauge the innovativeness of private sector in a state, and when I say that, I also mean that if somebody has to gauge, somebody has to look at the innovativeness of the state itself. Private sector has a huge contribution to make, and that's how we are ranked as far as the innovation ranking is concerned. But we really do not. Our companies do not really figure into that whole, gamut of parameters that are considered at the Government of India level, because our companies are not registered with DSIR. And when they are not registered with DSIR, there is no direct way to pick up the innovativeness that happens in the private sector within Punjab. So what can we do, PJG and Chimaji, to increase that? And also, one thought that I have, I'll share with you, that let's have let's call our major companies, which as CII, you are aware of, are into innovation in big way, and let's make them aware of the benefits that they get by registering under DSIR. There is custom duty exemption, there is concessional GST, there is accelerated depreciation allowance on plant and machinery, and above all, these companies become eligible for availing all the major government grants, and we'll be happy to provide the facilitation for that. And let's have a meet of industries, and besides getting these benefits, as I said, they will be contributing immensely to positioning state of Punjab as the innovative state by contributing towards state's ranking in the innovation index. And also wish to share that in 2020, Companies Act has been amended. Now the corporates can use their mandatory CSR for investment in the public funded institutions or organizations for R&D. And I really hope that the companies are aware of this. If not, let's create a platform to make them aware of this as well. It will be a win-win situation. One, the companies will be able to will be able to make use of the R&D strengths of the institutions in Punjab. Two, you will be again contributing to the state as well as position of the country, because at the moment India's R&D spending is less than 1% of GDP. If you look at the developed nations, it's much higher. Say 4%, 3%, and so on and so forth. And out of this 1%, also less than 50% is being contributed by the private sector. So if more and more industry in Punjab is aware of these developments, these recent developments, I'm sure we'll be able to take Punjab to to the next level. I think that's all from my side at the moment. Over to you, Rupali, to take it forward.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the informative presentation highlighting the role of STI in fostering innovation for cleaner and efficient industrial operations, as well as for the Industry 4.0. So also there is a need to further strengthen this industry research linkages for the inclusive growth. Thank you so much. And next we have with us Dr. Harish K. Sardana. Dr. Sardana has profound experience in academic and industrial collaborations. He is currently member of Arunachal Pradesh Private Educational Institution Regulatory Commission. Earlier, he was holding the position of Chief Scientist at CSIR Central Scientific Instrument Organization, Chandigarh, till November 2021. He started his career in 1982. By qualification, he is ME from PEC, Chandigarh, and has done PhD from University of Nottingham, UK, in the area of image processing and pattern recognition. He has also done MBA in Human Resource Management. He has to his credit 22 granted patents and another 7 are underway. He has supervised 17 PhDs and more than 140 research publications in the journals of high repute. With this brief introduction, I invite you, sir, uh, for your talk on industry academia partnership toward industrial growth. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, one and all, and I thank Punjab State Council for making this initiative. Uh, Considering the brevity of time, so I'll just move to presentation, sharing my ideas through the PPT, just for a while. Is it okay to see the whole screen?
Yes, sir. Your screen is visible.
Okay, so thank you for being present on this very important initiative. And it brings us once again to review and introspect how industry academia partnership has reached certain levels and what more can be done. To me, it sounds cliche or as if it is age old, but we are still talking about, we are reviewing it. Or in some cases, if one goes very critical, are we waiting for something to happen or we are already in? Why is it not in vogue? Some of the things I'm putting forward here, and I was happy to see Dr. Arora bringing Industrial Revolution 4 very much visible in major sectors of Punjab and the nearby states. So a part of my sharing is also towards this revolution that it is already knocking our doors. So various ways of collaborations, various ways of partnerships exist. We all know, maybe we have seen them somewhere or the other. And it's only, as you say, the will matters. So where there is a will, there is a way. So with that initial thoughts of what today we are likely to spend time on, uh, okay, this is again bit of tutorial on how largely two ways occur in traditional ways of collaborations, and these are some of the reasons why the two go under partnership. I mean, either the academia or R&D pushes something what they thought was important for the country, for the society, or at times, industry comes forward to pull up the R&D, to pull up the academia as to what they wish to collaborate for, or what they would like R&D, academia to do to do something for them. So this is how, in a way, society gets benefited either way. We are not discussing today which ways are it better or the other. These could be the matter of discussion somewhere else, but it's just largely the two, alternatives. I mean, it doesn't matter, which way we go. Either A goes to B or B goes to A. It's finally the partnership. Now, well, this slide might strange many of you, but this is just to give you an inspiration. What I consider, typically Industry 4.0, and we'll see other aspects of digital, society and education together in few minutes that I have. I mean, I still get a feeling. I mean, I doubt if others would have a different opinion on that. Is that how nature is a great producer? I mean, we really saw that Punjab is known for agriculture produce. So in a way, as I mean, it sounds to me more like an industry also. It's so optimized, so automated, and quite customized at times. So many things that we see in Industry 4.0, maybe if we can have a large connect, you will see there's a lot of inspiration that nature has been doing for ages, for years, billions of years. Now, to ultimate to me from Industry 4.0 would be something as natural as we see here. I mean, the scale at which things are produced, the quality at which things are produced, the optimization at which the resources are used. These are some of the, agenda for most industrial units. I mean, if they keep profit a little bit aside for a moment, they will see that there is a way to see through such an inspiration. So, okay, well, nothing to give you a lot of material on it, but just to tell that today we are, I mean, globally into cyber physical systems. So, in a way, there is a world that man has created, and there's a word that exists for all of us, that is for any layman and everybody. So that's a physical system, a real system. And on the other hand, we have made our own world reasonably, growing at a very fast pace. So why are industries not taking advantage of this, or what are the speculations they carry uh, to move forward to this, revolution that is already waiting for, or as I said, knocking our doors. Little more on that. Yes, by 2025, it is assumed. I mean, if you see the quarter that we are in, it shows Industry 4.0 is already in. I mean, okay, we did talk about Punjab and North region of this country. When we have tractor, we have steel, we have many textile, we have orthotics, we have many things in very small region. I find, I mean, that gave me really pride. But then whether we are a small sector state, or we have large number of industrial sector, whatever, there is a need for us to consider the global demands. I mean, as I find many of the industries presence today indicates that they are already feeling the need for such partnerships, that as we will see, Industry 4.0 is anyway forcing us. So if you feel why I'm bringing Industry 4.0 today, the it's a way of telling us that the partnership is what will be the mandatory condition for bringing industry 4.0. So industry 4.0 is not only industry, it is everything, as we will see, of the society, of the education. So we will see that in a little while, but that's the point here. And the terms smart factory, autonomous decision making, well, as I already said, cyber physical systems, machine learning. So, I mean, if they sound too far to some industries, I think academia, R&D labs are waiting for them to help. That's what I can say, that they need not, worry if at all, if there are situations with MSMEs that they are considering it's not for them. So let's not assume that way. So where are we in as a country? And then we can always see in Punjab. Uh, yes. Well, as a larger country, as you see, the smaller countries take pride in getting that ranks. So there is a natural reason because larger countries have more difficulties, right? And smaller countries relatively you can see have reached higher ranks because they are easily able to embrace the whole industrialization because of their size. And but that doesn't put us to assume China, despite being such a big size, uh, still is at a very higher position, if not, as I said, taking the reasoning because of the size matters, as he said. So Singapore might have higher, ranking, but China still has, and India cannot just keep on assuming better than Pakistan. And that's another, kind of position. But we seem to be in a way not too good on that. As a larger country, we might analyze it. Now, considering the growth expectations which have been met and what have been set. So if you see here, it shows a lot of contribution expected from industry, and in a way, it probably is more like a forecast expectation, which is likely to be expected, likely to be met. So therefore, it shows a rosy picture also that government of India has set. It is quite reasonable, and though it is stated as ambitious, but seems quite reasonable also to move from 16% to 25% of GDP. Now, as I said, bringing back our discussion to Industry 4.0, or largely the country, that previously also we have not done too bad, and it is likely that these automations are likely to help because of the previous pace of performance that the country has done. So therefore, it seems quite reasonable to have such growth expectations. Now, well, we must be critical. We must be able to analyze that though few star industries, sectors do exist, but largely we have missed, even those who are very critical say we have missed even industry 3.0, what to talk of 2.5 or 2.0 that we are in. And largely because of the key topic that we are discussing, the collaboration, between or among academia, educational institutions typically, and R&D institutions, and also industry. Well, again, RBI, there's a bit of rosy past we had, that reasonable, in a way, manufacturing companies, so many, not too big in numbers, it is 1734. So it's a reasonably the top manufacturing companies, in a way, contribution, in a way, in terms of these many crores, in terms of in various financial years. And then it shows that some bit of technology, if not at a total optimized levels, if not at a full automation or 4.0, has definitely contributed. So in a way, as I already mentioned, that some of them have been stuck. So we must move now from 2 to 3, 2.5 kind of generation that we were saying. That means we are not fully geared. We were not fully geared, but now looking at the way togetherness that is coming, particularly in this forum today, I feel I was rather happy to see largely ideas from industries are being presented maybe immediately after my sharing of ideas. So we are geared up, yes, probably, and then future must bring in the ideas that we are talking about. And then, yes, now coming to the real discussion that we thought I was bestowed to talk about. See, it is like a little bit of largely again the global pictures. This brings academicians and educationalists also into focus that it is no more, you develop a graduate and by the age of 25, 20, whatever, some age, and then works for 40 years, hardly any development of their own. Today's technology does demand upskilling, regular learning, and that will come from the support of the R&D and educational institutions to the industry. So in a way, huge supply of manpower, educated and skilled, which have that aptitude of continuous lifelong learning. So it's a larger learning aptitude of the country, whether they belong to industry or they belong to education and research, or in any career, is what is expected to really help here. And probably will be the only way. So collaborations as the backdrop and individuals considering that aptitude as even singles or even sectors, say industry, academia, or R&D. And then this distinction is not likely to stay now. This is what is a kind of forecast. So there's no more that we would see that, yeah, there's a lot of kind of amalgamation of institutions. And I find Chandigarh region, I mean, we know huge number of educational institutions already present with their highest possible rankings in the country, and industry sector that Madam Arora showcased in terms of widespread sectoral presence, in terms of what kind of products or material they are producing. So this is now time to really mix and merge and remove these, boundaries if there are any. So blur these walls of, separation that we might have, and such forums can have constant exchange of ideas if there are any difficulties, if any unit facing. So yes, so it's largely about the cyber part, also bringing the cyber world into the users' expectations. See, now the customers, some of the products from this region also go directly to the customers, while others are more at material level, like steel industry is largely on material sense. But tractor also is a large project, but orthotics, textile would be more customer centric. I mean, today anybody buys at online, shopping, and therefore they wish to imagine themselves more virtually than physically. So therefore, industries must be ready for such products. So you may imagine that such products will be introduced. So in a way, one can consider, industries particularly can consider moving, quickly as far as possible to get into such automation, removing the human intervention, which adds to a lot of quality problems, subjectivity of the labor. All these things need to go away. No one as a buyer looks for products which are, more having a branding of the individual who made it, rather than the industry who owns the brand. So therefore, I'm just provoking here that this will require close interaction between academia and industry. So this is already a global kind of forecast, but it's up to us now how we take it. So what are the recommendations? So faster changes of technology will require constant upgradation. So basically our mind is to change as early as today for such discussions. And then you can see now, academia may now look at the responsibility that high-end educational or research, or again, no blur, no boundary between education and research institutions, and they need to be co-located. I mean, again, look at this. We are already co-located in this region. Too much of co-location already exists here in Punjab and Chandigarh region. with industries, of course, madam, I already mentioned on greenfield cities. I mean, telling that industries are becoming greener and greener. So now it's time to see, though I'm not talking too much today on this, but the way the customized products, I mean, there was a mention of CSIO, we have customized, patient implants. I mean, there are products which cannot be, I mean, today's dresses, tomorrow's dresses could also be very, very, very specific to individuals on their own dimensions. So people could see themselves as avatars with the particular textile product that they are buying, or a dress that they are looking forward to. So therefore, today's banking industry, education industry has already been supported by IT and the society, and of course the shopping industry in a way. I mean, the shopping brands coming at the forefront of all the brands behind them. So it shows that society is very fast embracing the new generation, is already moving closer what we call society 5.0 actually. I mean, industry 5.0 also is finding its foundations. So therefore, with the new education policy, I find very necessary ingredients of what we call even education 5.0. So it's again the barrier between digitalization and the physical world also, becoming very, very close in a way. What people see in the virtual domain is what they wish to be delivered on their doorstep. And so therefore, education 5.0, society 5.0 indicate that once the industry moves from 4.0 or establishes itself to 4.0 with almost least of human intervention in the product making, except the customer's will, that is what is expected. And so therefore it's time to revamp our education system as well, with a way, always education and research going together, and then generating humans on the other hand, where they cannot be replaced by robots. I mean, so in a way, on one hand, we are talking about total automation. At the same time, we are, in a way, if people have any speculation, what would be the role of humans? The jobs that humans do will not be, anyway replaced by automation or robots. So there's this analytical clarity would probably preserve a lot of interest or any doubts people may have. So this is how it is. And then at the end, I do have a balanced, poor, and kind of a lot of hopeful, rosy picture. That in general, I remember Secretary, Ministry of Heavy Industry once mentioned that the Chandigarh region does need to have this quality consciousness in terms of production. So, as I mentioned, the quality consciousness will go in a way, with total automation. It will go to that expectations, wherein it is as per either the customer variations are permissible, but no human errors are permissible. Right. So, human skill-centric products need not be the way that a particular labor, if one is not present, that's not the way the industry can now produce products. And in general, cost consciousness still exists, but probably losing its undesired presence with the new generation. The new generation probably may not be as cost conscious, so probably the future products could be the way I just mentioned. But there is a need to have systemic sense. Industry 4.0 is largely into larger systems in place, with all components connecting and communicating with each other. So we need to have that larger sense of systems and larger sense of technology in general. We have been having IT, pharma, and few industries, making a global presence, and to some extent auto also. But other industries also now slowly moving to have global presence. So the global presence will come with, a larger proliferation of the technology and better understanding of the technology. And again, back to the human resource part of education and research, a lot of need to assess the challenges that a few new entrepreneurs are facing. Their ideas are coming. You find a lot of Shark Tank kind of programs on television where entrepreneurs are coming forward to their ideas. So new generation of entrepreneurs are anyway entering into the market. At times they feel at risk. At times they are encouraged, but we have a little bit of need to have a better evaluation system of human resource at the education level to entrepreneur level to their product level and many levels. Evaluation and support is what we need to have. And then we need to forget this assumption that we can have developments. Typically, I remember industries used to have a feeling, and still I find somewhere that we can develop something, hardly need to invest on research. That's a paradigm probably we have been using. I would say failing miserably with that. That without spending in research, we want to have development. That's India too big, too diverse, but probably can take advantage. And as I already mentioned, Industry 4.0 can help us transit towards the digital society. The humans, particularly the future generation of youth of India, is waiting for that. And with a positive hope that India, with a lot of potential, lot of size that we are yet to explore. Right. Thank you. That's what I had. Some critical, some rosy picture of the day. Thank you very much.
As you said, sir, it is time to revamp the education system as the academia and industry linkage is the medium through which we can accumulate innovation in the industrial sector to automate itself and also to accelerate their capabilities to achieve in industry 4.0 and also to meet the emerging demand from the society 5.0. You said. Thank you once again. So next we have a very prominent entrepreneur with us, Mr. Harjinder Singh Chima. Mr. Chima established the Chima Boilers Limited as an offshoot of Chima Engineering Services plant at Ropar in year 1999. Now, Chima Boilers is engaged in manufacturing of all types of boilers ranging from 1 ton to 150 ton per hour capacity also which are capable of burning all kind of biomass fuel like ice rust, cotton slack, rice straw, mustard straw, coffee waste, coconut waste beside coal and oil, obviously. Mr. Chima has significant patents to his products which include India's first brick molding machine, a portable multi-tier vehicle parking system, besides used specifically on efficient boiler operation. Under his able guidance, his company has been awarded at various forums like Z Business Group, Industry Academia Conclave, India Brand Equity Foundation, All India Technical and Management Council, and UNIDO. Mr. Chima is also chairman of Confederation of Indian Industry for Mohali Zone, besides being member of other prestigious institutions and organizations. With this brief introduction, I would now invite Mr. Harjinder Singh Chima for his talk on enhancement of industrial competitiveness for technology by technology intervention. Welcome you, sir. Over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Dr. Jitendra ji, Prithpal ji, PJ Singh ji, and all members on this entire Vigyan Utsav. I'm thankful to Punjab State Council for giving me this opportunity to share a few of my Make in India products on this particular platform because all are technical. So let us think. As Mr. Modi has said, innovations and inventions are must for 5 trillion economy. I am one member to support that. So I have a small PPT on this subject which I will be sharing with you. Please give me this sharing permission.
Yes, sir. Please share from your end, please, sir. We are waiting.
Thank you. Can you see the screen, ma'am?
Not yet, sir.
ठीक है, स्क्रीन दिख रही है?
सर अभी तो विजिबल नहीं है सर
छोटी कर ला दो फुल स्क्रीन डाउन कर देखिए देखिए
सर यस सर, बिल्कुल दिख रही है जी, आप करें सर। हाँ जी, थैंक यू।
देखिए
सर आपकी स्क्रीन विजिबल है। हाँ जी सर।
विजिबल है, ठीक है, हमने चेंज कर ली। तो जैसे मैं बोल रहा था कि मेक इन इंडिया, मैंने खाली होते दे अगे कर ले, अगे कितों होना, इतों होना। तो सबसे पहले we are the first company in India who have developed a rice straw bale firing system. We have put up the first rice straw fired power plant at Punjab, Bahamas 15 years back. But there we used to cut the straw and burn. The cutting was the biggest problem because no blade was lasting more than 8 hours. So to overcome that problem, we have developed this new system. It is Make in India. It is first time in the India where direct bales are fired in the boiler, and this is a vibrating grate. This is water cooled. This grate is part of pressure part. If there is 67 kg pressure in the boiler, the full same 67 kg pressure is in the grate also. And this grate is vibrating and burning the rice straw most efficiently. So already working installations, 75 ton, 67 kg boiler for last 2 years. It is already working, and we have 10 more installation going on. And the government is also supporting this for the rice straw burning. So this is our subject for the rice straw burning, and we are also making ethanol from rice straw 2G in collaboration with the Pune company at IOCL Panipat. And there are a lot of other biomethanation plants on rice straw and all those things. Then secondly, we have another patented technology, that is Chima Pump. In this pump, we have replaced the multi-stage centrifugal pump with single stage. So the power is reduced 90%. So if there is 20 kilowatt, 20 HP motor on a multi-stage centrifugal pump, it will use only 2 HP for same capacity to feed the water in the boiler. Now it is not generally possible, not acceptable, but I will show you how this technology we have patented it. Indian patent it is already granted. In this technology, what we have done is, suppose this is the boiler, we have put another vessel at a height of 3 meters above the boiler. So initially we have transferred the water with a single stage centrifugal pump filled into this vessel, and then we have put the steam from the same boiler into the vessel. With the gravity, water is feeding into the shell. So where gravity is automatically coming, then after the top vessel is filled with steam and the water has reached here, then that steam is taken to the tank for heating the water. So heat is not at all wasted. And once the steam is gone into the tank, again it will there will be 1 kg pressure. This pump will again feed the water, and once water is sprayed in this, it will create vacuum and immediately fill. Is already working commercially. So here pressure does not matter, capacity does not matter. Feed pump power reduced by 90%. So this is another pump. This is the photograph of the same pump. This is boiler, this is thermal pump. It's automatically feeding air into this. No other pump, no motorized pump is fitted on this boiler and working fine. Then there are two more technologies which we are working on that. One is hydrogen and one is CO2 recovery from boiler flue gases. So I will be showing a small 2-minute video on these two. Kindly bear with me till that video is started. लगा दे भाई, पहला स्टीम लगा दे हाइड्रोजन, नहीं दूजा इन्हें बंद कर। Now here we are going to show you a small अगर वीडियो दिख जाए तो मुझे बता दीजिएगा।
दिख रहा है जी, हाँ।
ठीक है। थोड़ी बहुत green hydrogen. We are trying to make this green hydrogen project. Here we have got a small boiler. This is an electrical boiler. It is generating steam at 3 kg per centimeter square. This steam we have taken it into the superheating unit. To the steam superheating unit. Here we are increasing the temperature of steam to 600 degrees Celsius to the indicated result. Now it's showing 567 degrees. This I would be that LPG became flame. We have taken this added, which is the methane, steam, which is added together. And this flame group, that is four of methane and H2O finally. What we will do is to demonstrate you what the difference between LPG flame and hydrogen flame. That is switch of the steam, switch of the steam. Now you will see pure, this is LPG flame. LPG flame is yellow to color, temperature of 650 degrees Celsius. Now please open the steam. Now when we open the steam, we will convert it to color the flame and please open the steam. See how the steam temperature changes. Let's see. See the temperature, see the color. See the color of flame. See how it is temperature changes. How much merchant is broken? Now you put it again over the thing. Now again demonstrate to claim LPG. You know the same thing. Same business LPG again. Please again over the thing. तो ये डिफरेंस है कितों बात हो रहा भाई। तो ये इसका हमने ना पायलट भी बना दिया, बॉयलर के ऊपर लगा दिया है इसको। ये तो एक छोटा सा पायलट आपको दिखाया क्योंकि टाइम नहीं था, इसलिए मैंने ज़्यादा टाइम नहीं लगाया। दूसरी वीडियो चला, एक और वीडियो में बताता हूँ जिसमें हम लोग बॉयलर फ्लू गैसेस में से CO2 अलग कर रहे हैं। जितनी कोल्ड ड्रिंक की प्लांट है वो CO2 बाजार से खरीदे हैं, उनके लिए बाई प्रोडक्ट है, उनके ही ऑफिस में अवेलेबल है। थोड़ा सा ये PPT है, 2 मिनट की है, इसको प्लीज देखिए। दिख रहा है जी?
जी सर, दिख रहा है।
दिख रही है मैम, स्क्रीन दिख रही है?
हाँ जी सर, स्क्रीन विजिबल है जी।
ठीक है। You will see the density of air is 1.16 and nitrogen is also similar. And the density of carbon particles, carbon and other particles is 2.2. So it means it is heavier and is double heavier than the nitrogen. Then the density of nitrogen oxide, sulfur dioxide and carbon dioxide is also higher. It is lower here in red pen. Rather, we are separating particulate matter shown in blue color from the cyclonic action within cyclone. We wish to remove these gases also mentioned in their red color in cyclonic action from a cyclone because there are only 20% gases which contain all these and 80% is nitrogen and air. So we don't need to treat this 80%, we need to treat only 20%. For that we have developed a single cyclone system. In this cyclone we have got two outlets. You will see from the photograph here. One outlet is at the top, which is from where we take out 80% gas, and one outlet is from the side. From where we take out all this dust and heavy gas. So we have to take only this dust and 20%, 25% heavy gas. So therefore, the load on ESP and solution control devices will reduce drastically. In this cycle, we have made the prototype that has been in our factory. See, this is the sand. See, even the cyclone is removing sand. Sand has very high density because it is stored particles. So if it can remove this, all particles it can do. See, this is how the dust particles are going out. from the 20% of that, taken from the side, the cycle. Now we have the bottom. It is getting reactive. That way the cycle is working efficiently. So with this development of this device, we don't need to be 100% fluorous subsoiler. We need to treat only 20% of fluorous. Thank you very much. So, कैमरा ऑन कर। तो ये मैंने दी प्रेजेंटेशन जो दिखानी चाह रहा था मैं। तो इस तरह हम काफ़ी सारे काम करते रहते हैं इनोवेशन और इन्वेंशन के, और वही ज़रूरत है आज की डेट में। तो यही मैंने प्रेजेंटेशन देनी थी। और छोटे छोटे हैं जैसे ह्यूमन बॉडी डिस्पोजल सिस्टम है, डॉक्टर जितेंद्र जी को पता है ना, एवं जगह और भी कोई ना कोई करते ही रहते हैं हम लोग। तो ये मैंने शेयर करना था सारे लर्नड टीम से। तो इफ एनीबॉडी हैज एनी क्वेश्चन, अदरवाइज माय इज ओवर।
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for sharing your insights. It is indeed good to learn that how your industry has scaled up with new horizons through technology transformation. Thank you once again. And moving ahead, I would now invite Dr. Pushvinder Jeet Singh for his talk on industry support to tech-led startups for mutual growth. Dr. Singh is M. Pharma from Punjab University, Chandigarh, and doctorate from European Continental University of Delaware, USA. Having started his business at a young age, he is now MD of Tyner Orthotics, which is the largest manufacturer and exporter from India for the most advanced and cost-effective orthopedic appliances. China today has an enterprise value of more than $500 million USD. Tanor gives employment to more than 800 people, under which mainly are the underprivileged women. Dr. Singh has been conferred with many awards and recognition at national and international forums. To name a few, Best Entrepreneur of India in the year 2010 from the President of India, the Most Honest and Ethical Company of India, Emerging Leader Asia Pacific Award, Distinguished Entrepreneur of India Award. He has been at various prestigious positions, including Governor at Maharaja Agrasen University, Director of UIET Kurukshetra University, Advisor Incubator, Awadh Incubator at IIT Ropar. With these words, I once again invite you, sir, for your talk, and over to you.
Dr. Jitendra Arora, Professor Sadana, Mr. Chima, and our young friend, Mr. Upinder Dhingra from ENY, Mr. Jatin Sood, and Dr. Datta, engineer.
So you are not audible. Please take your.
Am I audible?
Yes, 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 audible to me.
And our friends from industry, academia, and research institutes. Good afternoon to you all. Today I have been given to talk about, industry support to tech startups for mutual growth. So how can this mutual growth happen through this kind of a partnership? But before I start the real topic, let us first understand that what is a startup in the present context, and what is the difference between a startup and a conventional business. So let me first tell, for the benefit of the startup and the industry, that conventional orthodox industry is actually being run by the people who are into business for actually earning their livelihood. They may or may not be highly educated, and they do not have a clear sense of business or a vision or a plan. As a result, they keep struggling for their entire life with a small incremental growth. And if we say that hard work might be their main strength, and the Indian data says that 20% of them make a decent living, and only 2% become big businesses. But on the contrary, if we talk of startups, so startup promoters are generally well educated. They come from the best engineering colleges, the best business schools. And apart from having an urge to earn huge wealth they have huge internal motivation to actually bring the change for bettering the world. They have a strong desire to improve the human life in a big way. They actually find a gap in the present system or an unfulfilled need of the consumer, and where they bring a paradigm shift and a disruptive change in the way that the normal businesses are being done. So they are generally technology driven, and they are true leaders. They have ability to attract great talent. So once the vision of this startup is clear, this promoter is clear, the infrastructure, the team, and the systems in place, they try to grow at a blitzkrieg speed. So that's what differentiates a startup to a conventional orthodox industry. And when we see the Indian startups and the current scenario, so how do we look at this space? So what we see is that all developed nations are promoting their startup ecosystem as a mainstream method to grow. And India actually mimics them. We are a faint image. They are a faint image of our future. We actually get our inspirations from them. So we are looking into our future, what they are doing. And when we see India, for India, the time is right. India is very stable. India has entered into a huge growth phase of consumption. The education level and the awareness is high. The prosperity is reaching the grassroots levels. There is a huge push in a favorable way of the government policies in favor of startups. We see a lot of incubators also coming in most big cities. The startup ecosystem in India, by and large, has matured up and adding fuel to the fire. So majority of the fresh graduates from top colleges today think of getting into this great gold rush. If we talk of the mindset of the Indian government, the Indian government also sees that promoting startups as a key strategy to engine the national prosperity and bring about the socio-economic transformation. See, Indian government feels that on the shoulders of startups, they can actually make India a $5 trillion economy. And they also see that through startups, they can force a culture of innovation in the normal existing industry. So that is why Indian government is actually giving a lot of benefits to the startups under this program, Startup India. So they have a very simple process of registration for startups. They have technology grants, which can vary from 50 lakhs to say 2.5 crores or maybe 10 crores sometimes through various funds, that is big biotech ignition grant, BIRAC, SIBRI, BIPP, and many others. They have, the government is providing very high quality intellectual property right services. So fast examination of patents and reduction of cost of filing patents by 80%. And also to the startups, government is providing easy access to funds. And the huge benefit which comes apart from this is the income tax holiday for 3 years, and also a lower tax of income tax instead of 25 or 30 as the case may be, to only 17%. Benefits in tenders also. So reduced compliances is another benefit. And another big benefit is the easy exit. So lots of benefits which the government has announced. What we see is fueling the fire and everybody jumping into being a startup. So the young minds are, working for that. But let us see the mindset of the big corporates towards the startups. So I see that all the big and established companies of India are also heavily investing in startups. See Tata, Infosys, Mahindra, they might have 100 startups each. This has also caught the attention of our world venture capital community. They are investing in these startups left, right, and center. So sometimes they give them a crazy evaluation. So no wonder we have seen a $500 billion investment in the last 2 years in the startups alone in India, and more than 100 graduating to become unicorns. And few of them have even become multicons. And what I see is at least 1,000 are on their way to become a $1 billion company, or as we call them as unicorns. So Oyo, Ola, Zomato, Swiggy, Nykaa, all of them are startups, but also household names, and each one worth more than $1 billion. But now, having taken you through what is going on in the country at the moment, in the industry and in the startup arena, I pose a big question in front of you, that do we understand this science of startups? And I am addressing in particular to the industry members sitting here. Do we understand this science? Are we part of this great revolution? Or we are just a fence sitter and letting it pass? So today I have been asked to talk on this. Apart from talking about the benefits, I would like to talk about that how the industry, the present orthodox or running industry, can come together, be part of the startups and the startup culture in a very symbiotic way, so that we can all grow in a big way. So my next focus is that why invest in startups? So investment of a running and a successful industry, investing into startups is a really great idea and a futuristic idea for their growth. So what we have seen is these startups bring new technology. They bring new product range and new USPs to the existing products, provided you invest in a startup which is from your own domain. So here I am actually focusing on only one area, that the partnership can be where the industry is investing into a startup. So these startups normally would bring along a few patents also, because they have been working on this. Because what I see that the orthodox industry normally have a high inertia. They cannot change. They do not have R&Ds, so they do not have time to bring new technologies. But backed by a startup, they can even start a new R&D, new technology that can be brought, and they can work on this so as to grow in the future. This is also a great way of talent acquisition. So what I feel is that every big startup is done by someone from a great institute. Either he's an IITian or from IIMs. So the conventional industry can otherwise never attract this great talent. But when you invest in a startup, you at least get one or more such great talents free along with this investment. What I also see is that these great people who come along with a startup, they have a lifetime stability. which we see that the normal employees cannot bring. Normal employees have to leave someday. But these startups, since are the owners and have invested in their companies, so they will be with you for lifelong. And the best part for the industry to actually understand is that these startups, they work because they own their companies, and we industry guys are only a small part of it. So in this way, without spending much time, we can invest in them, they will grow, they will work, and we might be able to invest in a multiple startups, because our role is very minimal in that. We only have to give them the industry knowledge which we already have, the good practices and the systems or the contacts which are readily available to us. That is the only role, by and large, that we guys, the industry guys, have in this startup growth. So the rest is being done by the startup promoter. So these startups have another big role to play if we invest in them. So they bring to our conventional industry a cultural change. So they are young blood, full of enthusiasm, with a lot of youthful energy. So they are a breath of fresh air in our old industry setups. So startups, otherwise, if you understand, are businesses with big enterprise value, and all we can do is catch them young and at a peanut price. So this is how I view most startups, that they today are just available at a peanut price, but tomorrow they'll grow to become billion-dollar companies. So startups can also provide us other benefits like succession plan. So since these promoters are by character entrepreneurs, they are ideal candidates for our own succession plan also, the industry's succession plan also. Maybe I find that sometimes the industry does not have their own next generation who can be running their industries. So these startup promoters can offer a better succession plan. And for a very financially sound mind, the industry can also think that if you invest in a startup today, it can be a method of making a quick buck. Because generally what I've seen is that they grow so fast, and you can just get out and monetizing your equity, what you invested initially, and that can be a big money that can come your way. So when I see from the industry perspective, from the industry, because I'm running an industry myself, these startups offer a great opportunity to partner with them, to be investing in them. And let us see the whole thing from an industrialist point of view once again. So I ask you, the industry sitting here, that what is your present? What are you doing today? And what are your future plans? Or let us say, what are the issues that you guys are facing today? Maybe a succession plan issue. Maybe you want to do expansion. Maybe you want to change the line. Maybe you're looking for technology. Maybe you're trying to better your USPs in the existing products. Maybe asking for a bigger market share. Maybe you want to beat the competition. Or you're simply looking for great employees, which are your true partners in growth. Now, all these issues, there is one answer, there is one panacea, and that is a startup. If you can partner with them, they can probably be the answer of all your issues, what you're facing today. So having said one side of it, that it can be a great opportunity for we industrialists who are there in the business for so long. But let us see the other side of it, that now I'm talking on behalf of a startup, what might be the challenges of a startup? First of all, of course, the funds. So these guys are actually looking for funds. And if I talk on behalf of a startup, collaboration with an industry is an ideal thing to get to unlimited funds, access to unlimited funds. Then is the lack of market awareness. Most of these startups have great ideas. Yes, they have. But then they are not sure how to market this, how to sell this, their product or services in the market. But as soon as they have an industry partner, so the distribution network, the marketing system, the access to all these things come along with it. So immediately they find that their product is available to the consumer in a minute. What I see also is that that most of the startups have a very higher failure rate. And this higher failure rate comes from various reasons. Because they have a great business idea, they can solve the big problems of in their domain, but they also have dearth of resources, dearth of experience, and a constant fear of failure. So most of these startups fail because of these reasons. So on the contrary, if I say if they partner with an industry, the existing industry who's successful, the industry has all these things in abundance: money, resources, experience, people, connections, and the confidence which the startups generally lack. So the psychology of abundance, when it comes to a startup with this kind of partnership, ensures 100% success. Rather, what we have seen is that they grow exponentially. So I also see that, a startup might develop a great product, but then there is a resistance from vendors to work with these new companies with their smaller quantities, with their smaller ranges. So what industry brings, if they have a partnership there, the industry brings, because if they are from the same field, they bring along the organized dealer network to their doorstep of a startup. So getting payments from this distribution network otherwise might be a big problem, but working with the industry partner, they have no issues. Similarly, we talk of operational efficiencies. Startups normally have great ideas, yes, we believe, but then initially we find that they have inefficient systems. Operational inefficiency kills the startup. So actually it takes a lot of time for a startup to have a perfect management in place. And quite often we see that a lot of money gets blocked in non-value added things if they have a bad management system, or an inexperienced startup working on its own kills itself just because of this operational inefficiency. Now, the solution lies in, again, the industry partnership. So since the industry has all management systems well developed and they have the time tested systems in place, efficiencies in place, so that gets transferred onto the startup with such an ease. So the outputs get maximized with such efficient systems, and the success of a startup is guaranteed. Another problem what we see, my personal experience with most of the startups, is that they are good to develop a product or a service at a lab scale, but then taking it to a mass level and producing at a mass level is a big of challenge for them. So industrial partnership brings access to latest manufacturing facilities, which is capable of producing high quality products at a mass scale, and they get a least cost of production. So industry also brings better science of designing, which incorporates design for manufacturability at a mass scale. So this is where I think that most startups, they fail because they are not able to translate their lab scale into a mass manufacturing product lines. And I believe that even if we compare that a startup, if actually goes to a venture capital to get the funds versus it goes to the industry, there is a huge difference, because a venture capital fund might be only giving the funds and nothing else. And I would urge the startups to actually go with the industry from their own domain, because industry offers all those things just mentioned above and not just the funds. This is what guarantees the success of a startup. And I also believe, see, partnerships are generally difficult. But if you have a perfect attitude, then the partnerships can last very long, very successful, happy partnerships we have seen. So the basic principles remain that give more and expect less. And don't think of what you will get. Think for a bigger cause in mind. And the fastest way to move forward is always together. And you can't win alone. Together, we can win bigger battles. This is where I come from, because seeing from both the sides, the industry side and the startup side, I feel that they have a very symbiotic relation with each other if they partner. And my personal experience with a startup has been so wonderful, rather very exciting. So 3 years back, we invested in a startup called as FuPro. It was owned by, two VITNs, as we call as Vellore Institute of Technology, Nimish Mehra and Cyril Joe. So they were developing a high-tech prosthetic body parts and components. And let me first of all tell you that the scenario of the Indian industry in this domain, in prosthetics or what we call as the artificial limbs, that 70% of these products are imported at a very, very high price from Europe and US. 15% are being manufactured by the government, the PSUs, and 15% are made by the cottage industry, which are very substandard, and they still follow the designs of the 16th century. So the survey told us that there is not even a single nice brand into modular high-tech prosthetics, which India could boast of. So we invested in this startup about 2 crore rupees at an enterprise value of 5 crores. And the valuation now has grown to 30 crores. So I believe in the next 5 years, this company will have a value of about 1,000 crores. But that is just a small benefit. Other things what we got from this startup was great learned minds. They have a very different culture. So they brought in a culture of innovation and R&D into Tynor, and also gave us a completely new product range. So they gave us the symbiotic push to our marketing and promotion, since this company, the new company, is by and large into a similar field of orthopedics, what Tynor was doing. So what I felt is that in the last 3 years, the scenario at Tynor has changed for the betterment, in terms of that we are now more R&D oriented. We are filing patents. We are also understanding that how by bringing innovation, we can improve the speed of our growth in our existing company as well. So having tasted a great success in this first investment in the startup, now we are thinking of investing in another company, which is into the development of high-tech, AI-based, and IoT and app-based physio equipment devices. We are very excited about this new company that we are investing in, and hopefully this month we'll be able to do the required things so as to merge the companies. Now, having said all this, what we have been doing is participating with most incubators, those who have startups for medical devices, and we've been getting some very good startups. They've been offered to us. This is how I feel that most of us already running successful industrial enterprises. This is a great way of our future growth. This is a great way of, getting a great culture, a great talent into our companies. So once we sit and understand this whole startup culture, I think it will change the way we are doing businesses today. So this is what I wanted to share with you guys, that today I think getting together of industry and startups might be the panacea for our growth. Thank you everybody for listening patiently to me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for sharing the role of tech-led startups towards scaling up the growth of industries, and also the kind of support an industry partner can extend for overcoming the challenges before the startup to get the maximum, success from the startup idea. Thank you once again. We next have with us Mr. Upinder Singh Dhingra, Senior Manager EY, a reputed multinational consultancy firm. Mr. Dhingra has over 13 years of experience of working in several government, bilateral and multilateral sponsored projects, focusing on the development of MSME clusters through infrastructure development, technological improvements, productivity enhancements, energy efficiency, gender development, and financial linkages. Prior joining EY, he worked with the leading think tank, TERI, the Energy and Resources Institute, over 7 years. Working with the industry division at TERI, he spearheaded the execution of several projects on energy efficiency and technology transfer in over 40 MSME clusters across the states. He also leads a national level knowledge sharing platform for SMEs called Samiksha, which was created jointly by Ministry of MSME, BEE Power, Ministry of Power, Civil Agency for Development and Cooperation, and TERI. As a platform secretary, he garnered support from leading government and multinational funding agencies like UN, World Bank, SDC, JICA, GIZ, etc., for undertaking innovative technological interventions in MSME sector. With these words, I invite you, sir, for your talk, and over to you, please. I think your mic is not on, sir. Please unmute yourself.
Am I audible now?
Yes, please, sir. Please.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Rupali, for that elaborate introduction. And at the outset, I would like to thank the organizers for this session today, the Department for Science and Technology, Government of India, and our very esteemed organization, Punjab State Council for Science and Technology, for having me here. And while I could not join the session from the beginning, I missed out on the initial presentations, but I was very thrilled to know a lot of areas where startups can get a lot of funding from venture capitalists through this fantastic session we've had in the last presentation. So what I would like to introduce the participants to is the government side of it. So we have had a perspective on how startups or potential industrialists who want to grow can get support from VCs or private equity firms. But yes, I mean, we have been working back with government of India and several state governments for quite some time. There are a lot of innovative programs now which are fine tuned to the needs of the industry today, available from government of India, which can be leveraged by a potential, perhaps a new entrepreneur to set up a new enterprise, or for an existing one to scale up their operations. So I would like to just, given the allocated time, run you past a brief presentation I have. If I'm the co-host, I'll just play my presentation. Is my presentation visible?
So your screen is visible, but presentation in full screen mode is yet to.
Yeah, okay. Is it visible now?
Not
Yeah.
yet. Not yet.
I have played it in the full screen. Magan, if you could also play the presentation in the background, maybe that will be better, because yeah, I have. Yeah. Yeah, is it visible now?
Yes, sir. Please continue.
Yeah, so if we could go on to the next slide, Magan. So, I mean, knowing that the audience today primarily comprises of entrepreneurs coming from Punjab, I, in my presentation, would like to highlight a brief about the industrial scenario, the understanding that we have as the firm of Punjab's industrial scenario, and how the industrialists here can leverage funding available from Government of India to perhaps scale up their businesses. So if we talk about Punjab, of course, amongst the leading sectors that we have here in the state is, we have light engineering, we have machine tools, we have hand tools, bicycles, we've got foundry, and of course we have a lot of other innovative enterprises across the spectrum of the industry here. So now we have been working back particularly with the MSME sector. And when I say MSMEs, of course, I have not put up the introduction and the categorization part here, but it is now about 50 crores worth, up to 50 crores worth of investment, and 250 crores worth of turnover. So if you are an MSME, which I'm assuming most part of the industry here today would be, and at the India level, if we see, over about 96% of all enterprises are MSMEs now. So there is exponential support available from Government of India within the Ministry of MSME at the center, particularly if MSMEs come together as a cluster. So I, in my presentation, would highlight that. Next slide, please. So like I was mentioning, we've got all these sectors in Punjab, and the schemes that are available from the ministries are not sector specific. So of course, we've got sector specific ministries at the center, like we've got Ministry of Food Processing, we've got Ministry of Textile, we've got Ministry of Steel, who has sector specific schemes, but then there are overarching schemes available by Government of India, Ministry of MSMEs, which kind of transcend and extend support to all industries. Next slide, please. So, when we talk about MSMEs, since the number is phenomenally high, and if we talk about Punjab, as per the latest report of Government of India, Ministry of MSME, we have about 15 lakh odd enterprises employing about 25 lakh people, which is perhaps the highest beyond agriculture in Punjab. So, if we are talking about a sector which employs the maximum number of people and has presence of almost 15 lakh enterprises, and I would say out of this 15 lakh, more than about 13 lakh are still micro. That is where the government organizations which are there today, or the industrialists, I would say the mentors, as Dr. PJ Singh was also talking about, we need to play a critical role in supporting them. And in Punjab, if we see, we have presence of a lot of traditional clusters which have a lot of inherent capabilities. If you see on the screen, there are clusters in Amritsar around forging, around foundry, sports. In Jalandhar, of course, is pretty famous for forging, its sports equipment. And then we have got clusters like Barwala, famous for textile, pulp, machinery parts. And then, closer to Chandigarh, we've got clusters like Sangrur, Ludhiana, Fatehgarh Sahib, and of course, Mohali. So wherein a lot of industry, particularly in the MSME sector, is available. So if we pick them up as clusters, so of course, it is very difficult for any kind of government enterprise or any multilateral, bilateral intervention to reach out to MSMEs individually. So I think what we could perhaps do, and what we have been doing with my experience in EY, with my extensive experience with Ministry of MSME, that we pick them up as clusters, wherein we pick a group of enterprises and initiate targeted interventions for their growth. Next slide, please. So if we talk about MSMEs now, I'm not going to harp a lot on the challenges here. All of you, I can see a lot of practitioners here and you who grapple with such challenges on day in and day out basis. But still, we as developmental experts, we say that how we view it is four broad categories of challenges, and of course, some of you might debate that these are no more a challenge for somebody who has grown or perhaps matured into a medium enterprise, but for somebody who is still, starting up or perhaps is still at the micro phase, witnesses a lot of challenges pertaining to technology, because sometimes people have to start with the second-hand machines, old machines. So there are technology challenges. There is perhaps lack of information on new technologies as well. Unless you have a mentor or a partner, there is lack of information on new technology. Finance, of course, now Government of India has series of schemes, and now everybody in the world is talking about fintechs. We are talking about NBFCs, trade platform, a lot of other areas, where financial support is being provided. But yet, at the core, it still remains a challenge, because I would say finance access is not a challenge, but the cost of finance is perhaps a challenge today, and the trouble of obtaining it for a micro enterprise, because how banks view it is the same transaction, the transaction cost or the transaction mechanism is same for banks, whether they are lending a 500 crore loan or a 50 lakh loan, they need to follow the same processes. So from the banker side, they are perhaps a bit reluctant on granting small loans, which is of course a very typical challenge for micro enterprise. Then access to markets. I mean, if for somebody who's starting up, perhaps their domain is just limited to their local reach, to domestic regional markets. But yes, with the kind of opportunities available globally today, several micro and small enterprises are still not aware about them. But then of course there are other challenges which are more related to the government support. In a sense, there are infrastructure challenges. There are challenges for lack of common facilities, lack of tool rooms, lack of testing centers, which is where industry can also themselves mobilize, and instead of just relying on the government, the industry can also mobilize collectively as special purpose vehicles and do some implementation. Next slide, please. So now, of course, so there were some typical challenges which MSMEs in general have been grappling with for the past 3 decades or so. But then, the advent of COVID led to multiplicity of those challenges, wherein a lot of working capital crunch was witnessed, and particularly industries who were export oriented, like textiles and all, they witnessed a lot of decline in their orders. They could not ship out their orders. And that is where the essence of the title today, which is Atmanirbhar and industry, came from. And you would see that everybody in Government of India today is talking about Atmanirbhar, and that has come due to the challenges which they saw industries grappling with during COVID. And that is where the concept of having the entire supply chain within the clusters that we operate in came from. At least we do backward integration, so that within a cluster we have all kind of stakeholders available. We have raw material suppliers, we should have technology suppliers, we should have BDS providers, banks, everybody available in cluster, and so that we can achieve the concept of Atmanirbharata. Next slide, please. Yeah, so I would be talking about a few schemes of Ministry of MSME, and it has been a conscious effort on the part of the government also to consolidate the schemes that they have. Like Ministry has been running about 100 odd schemes, and nobody, even practitioners like us, are not aware about all the schemes. I would like to be candid with you. So today I'm not going to be cluttering your minds with a lot of information, but I am going to be focusing on a few key schemes, so that even if you take home one or two key schemes in your mind, you will be able to do something good for yourself subsequently. So, but on your slide, you see a glimpse of all the schemes available, and I would request the team from Punjab State Council to share my presentation with all of you, so that you capture all of them. But in my presentation, I am only going to be focusing on a few of them, wherein we can initiate targeted interventions in MSME clusters. Next slide, please. So now ministry recently has introduced a champion scheme wherein they have consolidated a few schemes. Now champions, the objective is pretty much the same as the subject we are talking about today. There is a lot of focus on technology. There is focus on Z, which is reducing your waste, improving your operational efficiencies. And of course, it's a long drawn game. A unit cannot achieve this in a short run. These kind of things can only be achieved in the long run. So ministry recently has also reoriented their Z scheme, wherein they are going to be making it mandatory for every unit who wants some incentive to at least have basic Z category certification, which, and the target for Punjab for this year is about 3,800 units. And I am sure our Department of Industries in Punjab is pushing this out to a lot of MSMEs. But I think I would urge all of you to adopt this yourself as well, with a lot of good mentors available who are speakers there in the session today, and with a lot of support available from the government of Punjab. We as MSMEs, or large industries for that matter, should be able to access benefit from the Z scheme. Now, if you have to obtain Z certification, then Government of India is offering the lean competitive scheme, wherein you as a bunch of clusters through NPC or QCI, which are the nodal bodies for implementing this scheme, can approach the government for financial support to adopt quality control mechanisms, because unless you adopt quality control mechanisms, you are not going to achieve various levels of Z. And let me remind you, this is not a very costly process. Of course, it demands a lot of time investment, a lot of effort. But yes, if on the consultancy part, on the cost part, a lot of support is available from the Government of India under the champion scheme. And for this, maybe you could perhaps reach out to either me or QCI or NPC or the Ministry of MSME office in Ludhiana, and they should be able to assist you with this. And then there is another new scheme which has been introduced, again a new scheme, but it has been like a lot of schemes have been merged to create one MSME innovative scheme and MSME digital scheme. Now, we are having such a good session today online, and we would not have ever thought of having such a session 2 years back. So with a lot of push on digital coming due to COVID, which is perhaps a blessing in disguise, Government of India has also introduced a new digital MSME scheme, for which TCIL is the nodal agency, and government is partnering with companies like Walmart and all to create digital kind of matrices for MSMEs, like ready templates which you could adopt across all functional areas of enterprise, be it accounts, finance, production, sales, marketing. So government is working on creating standard templates which could be adopted by MSMEs who perhaps can't afford to have hi-fi consultants available for them. So through the digital MSME scheme, they can adopt these particular worksheets or templates which are customized to meet the usual daily needs of MSMEs across all sectors. So you should definitely look up for the MSME champion scheme and see how you can get benefited out of that. Next slide, please. Now, again, a lot of focus of the session today and of the subject that we have been following is incubation, and it's a very common nomenclature today. Everybody, whether they are in the industry or on the developmental side, are talking about incubation. And I would say that there is a very good scheme available from Government of India, Ministry of MSME. It's called Aspire, which is where if there is a ready infrastructure available, there could be a small room available within any government facility. An incubation center can be set up across two categories, either a livelihood incubator or a technology-based incubator, which is where 100% support is given by Government of India up to 1 crore to set up center. And there are beautiful centers set up across the country. You could go and see some in National Institute of MSME, Hyderabad. And this can be across sectors. You can have a small center around bakery. You can have a center around hand tools. You can have a center around engineering. You can have a center around textile, which could be sewing machines and all. So this is nothing but a mix of infra and BDS providers. So this would be like a room having machineries, having a faculty, having a mentor who could guide you to prepare your DPR, leverage support from Government of India PMEGP scheme. And I would like to mention, if you set up an incubator, then you are also, and if you are a candidate who is being trained in an Aspire facilitated incubator, then you also get priority for PMEGP funding, which is Government of India's flagship scheme for entrepreneurship, that is Prime Minister Employment Guarantee Yojana, and under which this support available from Government of India has also been scaled up tremendously. Like even only last month, the support available from GOI has been increased from 25 lakhs to 50 lakhs. So which is pretty phenomenal. And we see enterprises like Tenor, who started their businesses leveraging PMEGP at that time was just maybe a lakh or so, have grown on to become, perhaps $1 billion enterprise. So I mean, I would urge a lot of entrepreneurs here who are established and the ones who are aspiring to look into such mechanisms, and they can perhaps reach out to their local administration, their local DCs, take a room from them and set up such incubators. Next, please. Now, the main thing, the core, the heart of the topic today, as we are discussing, is Atmanirbhar. Now, what is Atmanirbhar for an industry? And Atmanirbhar for an industry would be if you in your area comfortably can cater to your entire value chain, can cater to your entire supply chain. So that means you as an enterprise should be competitive. You should have all the support available, and for you to do that, like I said, you can mobilize yourself into clusters, a group of maybe 10 or 20 odd enterprise, and initiate interventions like you see on the screen around lean manufacturing, setting up of common facility centers, energy efficiency interventions, branding and marketing. And I would also bring for some examples around how people have done that successfully in my subsequent slides. But yes, you should focus on cluster part of it. If you are an enterprise which is driven purely on your I would say secrecy of your business, or the product where patented products, then perhaps the cluster model doesn't suit. But what we have seen from our experience and from the experience of Government of India, it largely suits about 90 to 95% enterprises across all sectors. The cluster approach has benefited. Next slide, please. And now the key scheme. Next slide, please. So now what is a cluster? So cluster, like I mentioned and many of you would know, it's nothing but a concentration of homogeneous enterprises in a particular area. Now there is no definition of that area per se, but then, like we talk about Mohali is, I had on my initial slide, it's an engineering cluster. So wherever you have similar kind of industry available across the value chain, their end product may not be the same. There could be like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 units can also combine and make a cluster out of it. But you should have some kind of relation across the entire value chain. Now, if you have that, then Government of India's flagship scheme available is Micro and Small Enterprise Cluster Development Program. And I would say that Government of Punjab has done considerably good work under this scheme over the past couple of years or so. Initially, yes, the progress was a bit slow, but now over the past 2-3 years, several clusters have been coming in Punjab. And of course, seeing is believing, like one cluster came up in Mohali, and then, another one coming up in Ludhiana now recently. And many people can now witness and see that, yes, there is support available from Government of India and how it can help. And I would like to mention that last month, this scheme has also been modified to decomplicate it and make it easier for industry to implement. So you don't have to do anything. You just need to mobilize about 10 micro and small enterprises. And if you do, just on 10 enterprises, you can set up a common facility center of 10 crore, wherein the SPV needs to put in just 1 CR. Now, what is an SPV? It's a special purpose vehicle. Those 10 people will join hands and will set up a not-for-profit organization as per the Indian Companies Act. And they can apply for a project, and they just need to put in 1 crore. That means each one of them just needs to put in about 10 odd lakhs, on which you get a grant of 9 crore, combined grant of 9 crore from Government of India as well as a portion from Government of Punjab. And if you are ambitious to set up big projects, then perhaps a group of 20 odd enterprises can come together, and again micro and small, and then they can set up a project of up to 30 crores. Now there is no land restriction here, and the contribution of SPV could be in the form of you bringing your own land or you leasing out a building. So what you can essentially focus is new technologies. For instance, we are focusing on green energy, green technology, incubation, R&D center. A lot of hard interventions can be initiated through this. Next slide, please. Like I mentioned, this is what the financing mechanism is available today. And if there is a trouble in mobilizing a lot of units, then I think we can start small. And you can think about setting up a cluster with about 10 enterprises and a 10 crore kind of a facility. And there is also a lot of focus now on flatted factories, because Government of India has been talking about ease of doing business for quite some time. But what they have understood for landlocked states like Punjab, Haryana, who are also away from coastal areas and with land prices being phenomenally high, is that we need to create mechanisms for plug and play facilities. And that is where there is support available from Government of India of up to 15, 20 odd crore for somebody, who wants to set up a plug and play facility. Now, what is a plug and play facility? It's like an area which gets developed either by a developer or by an SPV. You set up sheds there, you arrange for electricity, water connection, all government approvals done for somebody, a prospective entrepreneur or a startup perhaps, to come and just plug in their machineries and start the work. So there is a lot of focus going forward. UP is doing some really good work on plug and play. Haryana is doing, we have been working back very closely with Haryana government over the past 6 years. So a lot of plug and play facilities are being set up across the state of Haryana to facilitate micro enterprise and startups easily start their businesses. Next slide, please. So take MSc CDP, like I was mentioning, which is also the focus of the agencies who are the organizers today. We can set up facilities around Industry 4.0, smart manufacturing. There is tremendous push on green energy. So, like if you want to set up common energy platforms like, common solar plant or maybe common energy efficiency based projects, rice husk based energy generation projects or any green energy based projects can be set up through this cluster scheme. You could go about setting up ETPs, common logistics centers. So anything which you think can help you strengthen either your processing or your backward and forward linkage can be done under the banner of Common Facility Center MSc CDP scheme. And your touch points for this could be agencies like us or Department of Industries Punjab, Punjab State Council, MSME DI. There are several stakeholders available who will be very happy to provide you support on this for you to set up common facility centers. And yes, now what ministry is also allowing is startups in this, because earlier there was a common perception that only established industries can set up a CFC. But now with a lot of focus on startups, Government of India is also allowing startups and new enterprises to formulate clusters and set up CFCs. Next slide, please. So this is a brief about the process. Process has been very decomplicated. Earlier, there used to be like 10 layers of approvals for this, but now it is very simple. You make your own DPR, you get your DPR appraised by a bank, you take it to your state government, the state government approves it, and then it directly goes to Government of India with approval of our local Ludhiana office for approval. And Government of India has put itself also on that milestone based trajectory, wherein they are saying if a proposal is lying with the state government for over 2 months, then it will be considered as deemed approval, and the entire approval process should not take more than 3 months, and then implementation part should not take more than 6 months. So we have seen in the past CFCs getting established, which took like a decade or so, but now that entire focus, that entire mechanism has changed to ensure that if today some technology is relevant and it might remain relevant for next 4 or 5 years, so you should be able to set up your CFC within 1 year. Next slide, please. So, I would just quickly run you through a few examples. And, Mohali MPC bathroom fitting cluster is a typical example. And you could, go out and see this common facility center, which has been set up in phase 8 Mohali around for bathroom fittings manufacturer. And these guys went beyond creating a common facility center, because when you join hands, then you can explore the aggregator model for either backward or forward linkages. So these guys, a group of about 20 odd enterprises, when they wanted to install new technology individually also, they could negotiate with suppliers, for their raw material supply, and then they could also set up their common brand. So if you look at the cluster model, so the benefits are aplenty and they are beyond common facility centers. Next, please. like I mentioned that we have been doing a lot of work with Haryana government, and in Haryana we have been able to set up about 40 odd clusters so far. And we would be very happy for some of you, for any of you who is keen to come and see how a cluster is created, what kind of benefit a CFC offers to the industry, can come and definitely see. Like in Yamunanagar, we have set up a common facility center on engineering to set up the to facilitate and help the light engineering industry of Yamunanagar, which is about 200 odd units. So they've come together and set up the CFC, which is already operational. You see the photographs on the slide, and there is about 12 odd crore of Government of India grant that they have got to set up this cluster and operationalize this. They have been able to set up a tool room in this, a testing lab, and now with what they have already got as a base, they are also thinking about exploring into solar energy based technologies, again on a common platform. Next, please. So we have several examples we could share, but I could only selectively, I have taken out a few. Like in Karnal, we have set up a cluster, a CSC for plastic and packaging industry. You know, because Karnal it's a hub. That entire Karnal, Kurukshetra belt is famous for its food processing, for its rice millers. So there is a lot of demand for packaging products. The cluster units there have set up a packaging unit in which they have set up a state of the art laboratory. They have set up a mini tool room. They have set up now they are setting up a training facility as well. And you see the photographs again. There was Government of India grant of about 11 crore and Government of Haryana grant of about 3 crores involved in this cluster. So I would say that these CFCs are a reality. And if you are micro entrepreneur or a small entrepreneur, and if you think that, okay, you know, a 15 crore out of a odd facility is something I can't really aspire for initially myself, then I would say cluster is the model for you, you know. And it should not be difficult for you to mobilize about 10 odd, I would say, industry friends, you know, who are based locally, are into same kind of business. And you know, you can have your common facility center ready within a span of 1 year. Next, please. And of course, in Punjab, then if we talk about technology, since that is our focus today, we have been blessed with a few very good institutes which were set up with a lot of bilateral and multilateral aid. You know, there are institutes available in Batala, Ludhiana, which government is also in the process of upgrading through the TICE scheme of Ministry of Industries and Commerce, wherein assistance of up to 20 crore is available. So some of the technologies in these particular centers has become obsolete, and this can be upgraded, and government is also in an attempt of initiating interventions to upgrade this. And many of you can, you know, go back to them, highlight your particular requirements, so that while they are in the process of upgrading these centers, they get to capture the right kind of feedback. Next, please. That's all from my side. And I would just to recapitulate, you know, we have talked about the overall framework of Government of India, Ministry of MSME, which can support entrepreneurs of Punjab through the cluster scheme. So just two takeaways for you to take from. One is the MSME Champions scheme, in which you can focus on your quality, innovation, technology, and the cluster scheme. And I'll be more than happy to assist any of you. My mail ID is shared in my presentation, and I'll be very happy to assist any one of you for your developmental needs. Thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you so much, sir. Uh, Thank you also for throwing light on government initiatives aimed at promoting technology-driven growth. So moving next, we have Mr. Jatin Sood with us, who is the Managing Director of Royal Alloys, a venture of Royal Group of Industries at Mandi Govindpur. Royal Alloys have made a benchmark in the rolling mill reheating technology and has been forced to promote green steel. The unit has been also declared one of its own kind demonstration unit by Punjab State Council for Science and Technology, Government of Punjab. With these words, I invite Mr. Jatin Sood to present case study of Royal Alloys on the cleaner technologies and how it has provided competitive edge to the industry. Mr. Sood, over to you. Mr. Sood, please unmute your mic. Please.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, please go ahead.
So earlier I was a bit nervous because normally it's, I think, my second time, but now I feel more responsible because your expectations, the speakers who have spoken more about the future with the role of the young entrepreneurs. Now I just feel more responsible for our future, and your expectations are too high, and we will try to cope up that expectations. So let us start. So in a India as a developing country, any developing country backbone is industry. Industry cannot run without greenhouse emissions or harming without harming any environment. When you have to run an industry, you have to also take care of the environment. But till now, I think we have done very much more into this matter, but still very far away from our goal. So we are now securing our next 25 years and creating a benchmark in the rolling mill technology, the rolling mill industry, what we are using today. I belong to Mandi Govindgarh. Mandi Govindgarh, and in a Mandi Govindgarh, I have a rolling mill unit by the name of Royal Alloys. Earlier, it was based on coal reheating furnace. This is the case study of the conversion from coal to clean fuel reheating furnace. Asia's steel town, which is district of Fatehgarh Sahib and landlocked state of Punjab in India. This town produces 20% of the total production of the country, and the cluster is over 70 years old and growing since. The town is a hub of the steel re-rolling mills, induction furnaces, supply units, refractories, forging, and secondary steel units, which with the employment of more than 1 lakh persons working in this segment from all over the India. As Punjab is a landlocked state, the Badi Govindgarh cluster is based upon the import of recyclable scrap or the other resources from different parts of India, which lead to the high input cost. Because when you are not available with the resources and you have to bring the resources from the other part of the India to the Punjab, then the transportation cost occurs. And the Punjab is a landlocked, and we don't have any further trade with Pakistan, or we have a border state. So then we'll make the material, bring the resources to the Punjab, and we'll make the material, and then again send back to the seaports or the different part of our different part of our. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Mr. Sood, you are audible. Please continue.
Okay. So the different part of world or the different part of India, we are again transporting. So there are two type of transportation costs. First, to bring the material into the Punjab, and then to send back material from Punjab to different part of the world. So it is bit struggling for this cluster to survive in a competitive market, and we are using cut to cut technologies to reduce our cost of production just to be competitive with other clusters. The cluster is struggling with the existence and competence with other steel clusters, reducing the cost of production through implementation of the energy conservation measures, adoption of the energy efficient technology over last 25 years. Although the rolling mills have achieved the benchmark in energy efficiency, controlling pollution and comparison to other steel rolling mill clusters, but the use of fuel, the coal, which emits around 600 tons of a stack emission and release around 7.7 lakh tons of associated greenhouse gases emission annually. So it is a huge when you burn coal, so lots of the things happen and that are harming the environment, and that is a big reason for the global warming. So we are more conscious about our next 25 years, and we are more conscious about our the global warming to reduce, because every time you can see feel that from last 5 years, Punjab temperature has gone going higher and higher in the uh, summers, and it is going lower and lower in the winters. So it is hard to it is just because of the greenhouse gases effect. And CPCB has also declared the Mandi Gobind one of its non-attainment city in our country. In 2020, the PNG was available for the rolling mills as a fuel replacement of coal. The industry started switching over to the PNG from coal as fuel in their reheating furnaces. But there were some challenging faced by the industry.
ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀ
Non-availability
ਸ਼ੈਡੋ ਆ
of
ਰਹੇ ਆ ਨਾ
complete.
ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿਉਂ ਆ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਅੱਛਾ ਆ ਲਾਈਟ ਬੰਦ ਪਈ ਆ ਮੈਂ ਵੀ ਕਹਾਂ
So non-availability of the complete technology package for the conversion from coal to PNG, it was a huge task for us. So very less technological support provided by the vendors without any backup support. So there were some challenges which we were facing into the coal. First of all, when you are need of a coal like 7 to 8 tons in a day, you need to store a coal near about 400 tons to 500 tons. Just because if there is some rainy season is there or some issues in the mining industry, there is some issue, you have to make sure that you have a stock of a coal for next 2 months. So storing coal was a huge problem. We have to block an area in our factory, like 400 square feet or 500 square feet area was blocked for the coal. And sometimes the weather was very harsh. The coal get in rainy season, coal get wet. Whether you have a sheds in your factory or any other issues was there. And storing is a huge problem for that. And with storing coal, there were some health issues because the coal we use in our reheating furnaces was a bit of having a sulfur gases in that. When there is a stack of a coal, the sulfur comes to the environment and the workers inhale that sulfur. So they are giving the long-term problems in our health issues. So other point was the smoke from the chimneys. The smoke from the chimneys, I just want to explain why the chimneys get a black smoke. Because when you burn something properly, you will get a white smoke. But when you do not burn something properly or you are over fueling your furnace, then that unburned coal or unburned fuel will go into the environment and it will create a black smoke. So technology was we was having the bit of better technology than other clusters, but sometimes or in a morning or in a evening, there was a time when the chimney was blowing the black smoke and all over in our factory there was a black smoke. So black smoke was due to when our infrastructure is not applicable. It is not sufficient to burn that coal. The 70% coal is burned and 30% coal is gone away from the chimney. That was also increasing our cost of production because you are not burning coal, you are simply 30% of coal is going into the chimney and it also get the environment dusty. So there were some challenges related to the coal pulverizer because you cannot directly blow the coal into the furnace and that you can heat up a 10 ton or 12 ton of a steel in an hour. So to do that, we are using the coal pulverizer. Coal pulverizer, basically it's a kind of a coal chakki, which makes the coal in a very fine powder. So sometimes there was a sort of stones in the coal, some sort of big rocks in the coal. So that is disturbing the rotation of that pulverizer. So we have to again and again repair that pulverizer after 3 days, 4 days to make that coal, to crush that coal in a fine 200 mash. What is the standard given by us to the science technology? So sometimes there is a mixing in a coal, non-availability of the coal in rainy season. Sometimes there is a moisture in a coal because as of today it's raining. It's raining in my place. And if I would have coal this time and it is in a huge quantity, the moisture from the environment goes directly to the coal and it will block the pipelines, it will block the pulverizers, it will also because when you blow the coal into the furnace, the first of all the moisture will go away, and till that time the coal will go into the chimney and there is a black smoke. So we want to get rid of the black smoke, but there was no solution for that. After intervention of science and technology and other departments, I'll explain you in further. Industry initially focused by switching to over the PNG was to meet the regulatory requirement with the minimum cost and the actual technical requirement. Adoption of incomplete technology solution by the industry was leading to the high PNG consumption was not that was an economical disaster, because when you are using coal and you are not burning coal, you are your infrastructure is not proper to burn coal, or the coal is not efficient, it's having moisture or some any sort of dust, so you are wasting your money, and you are creating you are giving the cost of production is a you are booming that cost of production, and you can't compete with other clusters in India. So lack of technology was discouraging the industry to switch over to PNG and coal. The situation of the industry was like the city without roads. There was no roadmap or any other cluster in India running on PNG. The industry was desperately looking for some technical solutions which can reduce the cost of production. In 2021, Punjab State Council for Science and Technology took up the challenge and demonstrated the technology for converting the coal-based rolling mills into the PNG-based. In our unit, Royal Alloys in Mandi Gobindgarh, Punjab State Council for Science and Technology, after intensive on-site study and brainstorming with all the experts of the industry, uh, the major people who were there in the industry from last 50 years, I would like to give the names of them, Mr. Sanjeev Sood, Mr. Basu, and the more technical person, Mr. Ranjit Singh from Science and Technology. They have done very deep brainstorming into this matter, that how we can create a good fuel, clean fuel, and make it economical. And equipment we also need. We can finalize the design. We can also think about the how to do the things, but we also need a good equipment manufacturer. So Twitter played a major role for providing the equipment for this conversion. The people working in this domain with the developed technology package comes with the solution of adopting PNG. The design of the furnace and the insulation with the new fuel design changes. Uh, when science and technology give us the design of the furnace, so you cannot run the same fuel, you cannot run the PNG into the same furnace. The furnace has design, uh, different design, and it has to be completely changed and make according to the PNG. So it was a huge task for the industry also, because there is, when you have to change the heart of your rolling mill, because furnace is the heart of the rolling mill, when you have to change that heart or you have to modify that heart, there are lots of expenses and lots of problems, or and there is a lot of risk if the working of the heart is not as per the our thinking, then it will be become a disaster. Because accepting that challenge, we we also faces that this department, and the department also faces us. So that's create a bounding with the department and the industry. So after doing the changes in our furnaces, and also the department was more concerned about the high efficient heat recovery system. Heat recovery system was more important, because when you are uh, blowing any fuel into the furnace, you are blowing just the fresh air from the environment and mixing the fuel with that, and you're creating a pressure in a furnace. The department continuously makes a pressure on the industry that please recycle the heat, the waste heat which is going to the you in your chimneys. You have to recover that heat and use that heat as a fuel intake. So by we have recovered 400 degrees of heat, which earlier we were uh, using a room temperature heat or the normal environment temperature heat. Now we are using 400-degree temperature of the air, which is giving the effect of low fuel consumption, because you are already taking 400 degrees of the heat and you are using less fuel in that. So the burners was also a challenge and task for us, because in India, when no cluster is running on PNG and there is a new fuel and no rolling mill was earlier doing this sort of small rolling mills, not doing this type of things, then you have to find the proper burners which mix the air with the fuel and create a proper combustion in a furnace. You have to find that burners. So we use the burners from Bloomberg company. It's a USA based company. We have experimented that burners. We have brainstorming with their team also, and we are more into the because we need the automation in the industry also, because when we were using the coal as a fuel, so no one is taking care of the furnace, how much coal should be we should blow in a furnace, how much air should be there. So normally unskilled fireman was there. He was just revolving the regulators. This is the he's revolving the regulators of coal and revolving the regulators of the air. But the mixture was not as per the law or as per the theory. So we have to get rid of the human dependency. So we brought a automation into this industry, and our unit was the first unit to fully automated to run a fully automated furnace on PNG based. So in a result, the development and demonstration of above technology innovations has resulted the reduction of greenhouse gases emission up to 40%. We were able to reduce the up to 40%. It's a, I think, very big achievement for the industry, which industry is not even taking care of the environment. Now we are saving 40% of the greenhouse gases to go into the increase the global warming. For further, it has provided the cleaner work zone environment to the industry workforce, which is around 150 and above workers per industry. The payback, the most important part is the payback time. When you are using the industry, and the payback time of that industry is more important, because when we as I am a businessman, my thinking is that if I am investing something into some business or some technology, I should get some sort of return. If I am getting some sort of return, that is fine, but how fast I am getting the returns into that from that investment, it is more important for the industry. So we have invested 1.25 crores into this technology, and earlier we was thinking that we will get a payback time of 5 years, that this 1.25 crore will get in 5 years. But after running this experiment or after doing the implementation, I was amazed that 1.5 year was sufficient to get that recovery, because we were not aware of the benefits. We were aware of the benefits, but not that much benefit. We were not aware of that, and even department was not aware of that. What will be the effects? We were hoping for the good effects, but the effect were tremendous, and thus the industry is reaping economic benefits as the technological intervention developed and demonstrated by Punjab State Council for Science and Technology has established the low PNG consumption. So, while you are working on a coal-based furnace, your target was to reduce the amount of coal of from to the furnace to reduce the cost of production. And nowadays, the coal prices has gone up to 25,000 per ton. Earlier, it was 7,000 per ton. So when the coal prices have gone up, so you have to also take care of the economics, that you have to reduce the price of the fuel, the cost of the fuel to the material. And in that coal, it is not possible, because it is not constant quality you are getting from the suppliers, or sometimes you are buying from the USA, sometimes you are buying from Indonesia. There are different type of chemistries was there, different calorific value was there. So fuel was not constant, but in PNG, The constant fuel is there. The calorific value is up to the mark, but it is written in the books. That was we are achieving, and we have done earlier. The people doing the automation and other things. We are happier that we have achieved the target of 33 SCM per ton, or 30 to 33 SCM per ton of PNG consumption. So it is giving us a huge benefit in reducing the cost of production. And moreover, the reduction in scale loss. When you burn or you reheat the steel, there is a burning loss, there is a scaling which you cannot recover after some time, or after heating that steel. The recovery of that was in when we were using the coal, because coal is something when you burn, there is ashes will be there, there will be other uh, you will get a ashes in end. But when you burn PNG, it is a clean fuel. When it is a clean fuel, you can we have reduced our burning loss from 1.75% to 0.70%. It's a huge for the production. If your production is 5,000 per ton and you are wasting another 300 tons just for the burning loss, when you are shifting to the PNG, you have
Sorry to
saved
interrupt,
that.
Mr. Sood.
Yes.
Can we keep it short, because we, looking at the paucity of
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
wind up.
So we have also reduced the burning loss. The best part is that we are branding our steel product with the green steel tag, which are giving us the benefit in export, because when the customer knows that steel has been provided without giving the environment harmful gases, the customer in different countries are giving preference to green steel rather than a normal steel. Mandi Gobindgarh is a very small dot on the earth map, and we are proud that we are our small efforts are stopping the global warming, and we have created benchmark for the industry. In end, I will conclude, as our Prime Minister Narendra Modi has taken steps to completely remove wood burning chulhas from the kitchen of a common man. This is the same conversion which has replaced coal from the reheating furnace and provide the clean fuel through pipe natural gas. Now India is innovating and adopting technologies. On the behalf of Royal Group of Industries, I would like to thank all of you for inviting me and giving me a chance for representing the Mandi Gobindgarh Steel Cluster and for encouraging others. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Sood, for an engaging talk and also sharing your experiences. It is pertinent to mention that the first of its kind demonstration of the technology for converting coal-fired re-rolling mill to cleaner fuel has been possible. First, because the industry has been forthcoming to shift to eco-friendly practices, and secondly, due to the coordinated team efforts from the research and industry partners. We intend to further strengthen this linkage in times to come. Now I take honor in inviting Dr. Debapriya Datta. Dr. Datta is the brain behind the DST initiative of Vigyan Utsav. I would like to inform the audience that Dr. Datta is presently the head and advisor of Science for Equity, Empowerment and Development and State S&T program divisions of Department of Science and Technology. He completed his doctorate from Indian Agriculture Research Institute and joined Indian Council of Agriculture Research. He there served as scientist in Central Soil and Water Conservation Research and Training Institute, Dehradun. He joined the Natural Resource Data Management Division of Department of Science and Technology in the year 1994. And in the year 2008, he was appointed as Scientific Counselor in the Embassy of India, Washington, D.C. During his period from 2008 to 2012, he handled the India and US Science and Technology Cooperation policy and projects in various sectors like health, energy, climate, environment, education, etc. Dr. Datta has also steered many important policies regarding development of SMT. With these words, I welcome you, sir, and invite you for this special remark.
Thank you, Dr. Rupali. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And I'm sorry that I couldn't be with you from initiations of this the program, because I am now in Lucknow and joining from there. But first of all, like before starting, I congratulate the Punjab Council for starting the 11th month of Vigyan Utsav. Like in every month we starts, and we find that it's a testimony of our resolutions to continue. We started almost 11 months before that we began Utsav, to showcase the strength of the network of this state and UT level SMT councils, 31 of them, and the value they have brought it in the context of the nation building. And in that context, the role of the state SMT councils in developing the science, technology, and innovation ecosystem of the states, and where we started this 11th month, and by the 11th month, I understand that around 3.5 lakhs of the stakeholders in these 11 months have been with us and taking part in the discussions. Today also, I find more than 150 participants were there with us online, and there must be many through the social media. So this month, what we are talking about, like in the very important stakeholders in the science, technology, innovation in this of the ecosystem, that's the industry. And I really congratulate the SMT, the Punjab State SMT councils to bring these important stakeholders of the industry on the whole. And this is a testimony of the industry's involvement with the SMT councils. Generally, we tell our scientists to stop, but when Mr. Sood was so interestingly sharing his experience, and the sharing in scientifically that and how the efficiency he has improved, as well as the business component, like when he was given, he has told to stop, that's an indicator that the stakeholders is a part of the ecosystem. And I really congratulate both of you to be the important the partner of this state SMT council, the state STI ecosystem. As we started this in 11th month, we looked it into that component of the India's the innovation. As you know, like the India in the last 6 years in the global innovation index has risen from 81 to 46. But this global innovations index study also shows that India performs best in the market sophistications, like in credit, investment, trade, like as you've seen, like our colleague from ENY, Mr. Thingra, was suggesting that the government, the initiatives have taken. But it is weakest performances in terms of the infrastructures. India, government of India and others are aggressively working towards establishing itself as a leader in industrializations and technological development with the aim of making the country independent of the global supply chain. Because during the COVID period, we have seen how it is important to be independent of the global supply chain, because the COVID has shown that the interdependent with the global supply chain, also needed an independent, independence part, because this type of disruptions, the resilience we need to develop out of that. So in order to become Atmanirbhar, of self-reliant and globally competitive, we have many challenges. The Indian industry is heavily dependent on the imports, like as you have seen today in the many of the presentations. We need to have more investment in terms of the R&D, capacity building, innovations, collaborations with the adequate policy interventions to boost these industrial sectors. As Mr. Dhingra was sharing, that the government of India has taken many initiatives in the context of these MSMEs. And as you know, that we have a very the vibrant Startup India program, which is creating an ecosystem. The problem, the challenges also we have in the low expenditures of the R&D and subsequent paucity of the resources, which is the restricting the growth of the business and the competitiveness of the business. And in this context, I think the working together of the councils, the industry, the research organizations is a requirement to develop this the ecosystem. Also, there is another aspect of the employability of the graduates. So in that context, the council and the industry should work with the academic institutions, and the national, the education policy NEP 2020 provides that, the framework. Actually, there is another challenge, like as our the honorable prime minister has given, that the India will reduce this emission intensity of the GDP by 45% by 2030 by witnessing a surging interest in the cleaner industrial technology. But the response to that, what Mr. Sood presented, at the end is nothing better than the testimony of, he told that 40% of the reductions he is bringing by, following that the clean technology in collaborations with the State Assembly Council. At the same time, he told that the recovery time of that, which is important for an industry, is what he thought about 5 years has only been 1.5 years. So that's a very encouraging, the experience for the India's commitment to to reducing the global the emissions. So if we look at it into this, the the Punjab and the role of the industry towards the Atmanirbharata. So Punjab, as far as the India Innovation Index of 2020 released by Niti Aayog, it's ranked 10th. And the Punjab, in order to improve that, as you know, the Punjab has initiated the Punjab Innovation Missions with the vision to make the state one of the top innovation the ecosystems in the country by providing the right building blocks to support dynamic entrepreneurs in order to bring the new products concept to the market and drive sustained economic growth. Not only that, even the sustainable, the green technologies, and the sustainable technologies, the council is working towards that. And as you know, Punjab has its textile industry. The Punjab is the source of the tractors, the auto components, agro-based industry, and textile, pharmaceuticals, and food products. So today's the initiations of this month, what we have started, and today's program, as I could see, is a good testimony that how that the industry as an the stakeholders and the partners in the development of the STI ecosystem, and how the SNT councils should work with them to address their problem, as you've seen, like Mr. Sood has has presented that his experience, so that we can create at one end in the vibrant economic environment, at the other end an environmentally green environment and a prosperous society. So these are the three axes of a sustainable development, and this the interactions between these different stakeholders will ultimately bring or address towards the sustainable development. So I believe, like this month, what we'll discuss, we will find out that model of that the industrial growth which India will champion for the coming 25 years, which will show the whole world how an economic growth can also take place at the same at the same time by the reducing the the environmental emissions. And I believe the Punjab, which started at the the economic growth in the country by championing the green revolutions, and which is now suffering again also from an environmental the environmental challenge, the challenge of this the burning of the crop residues, and the responding to that will also the lead India for this the industry led growth, but keeping a balance between that the environmental the emissions and the social the growth also, because that is the challenge, like which, as our honorable prime minister has told, that the coming 25 years India's the development will depend upon the science and technology, and there definitely, like the industrial the growth is an important engine which has to take place at the in alignment with this other three axes of the sustainable development. So again, congratulate Punjab Council and Punjab State SNT Councils, and also expect that this month the other S&T councils will follow that with the first day's model, which has been established by the Punjab state S&T councils. Thank you very much, and thank you all the the participants for your kind presence and sharing your experience, and to partner with the state S&T councils so that a vibrant the state level science, technology, and innovation ecosystems we can develop together. Thank you again.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable words. It is with your sustained guidance and DST support that PSCST in this region is making all possible efforts to cater the knowledge needs, technological needs of the industry, as well as to strengthen the knowledge networks across S&T and research institutions for for inclusive and sustainable development future. So thank you once again, sir, for your valuable words. And now before closing this today's proceeding, I invite my colleague, Mr. Maganveer Singh, Principal Scientific Officer, for formal votes of thanks. Over to you.
Thank you, Rupali. Of course. Hello. A very good afternoon to all. This program has been a very enriching experience with talks from experts and leaders from varied fields covering real essence of states, science, technology, and innovation ecosystem. It gives me an immense pleasure to deliver the vote of thanks for the event to eminent speakers and participants. First of all, I would like to express my deep gratitude to Dr. Debapriya Datta for taking out time from his busy schedule today. And sir, it means a lot, and your presence means a lot to us, sir. And sir, thanks for providing support to conduct such a beautiful cross-sectoral nationwide science festival. Sir, without your contribution and efforts, this would not have been possible. Thanks, sir. Next, I would like to thank Dr. Jitendra Kaur Arora for steering and guiding the PSCST team for organizing series of VIGYAN UTSAV events, and also sharing the importance of science, technology, and innovation ecosystem for self-reliance of industry, state, and community, and spearheading the ST ecosystem of the state. Thank you, ma'am. I would like to thank Professor H.K. Sardana for sharing the role of research institutes to support industries in addressing their technology gaps, and importance of industry-academia linkages and adoption of new advanced technologies for Atmanirbharata. Sir, thank you so much, sir. My heartfelt thanks to Shri H.S. Chima. He had to leave. So his talk has always been very inspiring, and I'm sure that a lot of participants will be motivated to follow his path, which has been full of hard work and in-house R&D. And one thing I want to add, whenever we meet Chima sir, he always have new products addressing. He always have new products addressing technology gaps of the state and industry. This zeal needs to be adopted by the industries of the state for self-reliance. My special thanks to Dr. PJ Singh for being part of this endeavor. Sir, your journey from a college lecturer to developing a brand and a company that is India's largest manufacturer and exporter of orthopedic and fracture aids is highly motivating. And your support to tech-led startups for mutual growth is a model which needs to be replicated nationwide, where an industry can provide mentorship to startups. Thank you, sir. My thanks to Shri Upinder Singh Tingra for sharing industrial landscape of Punjab and details of various national programs for supporting SMEs. As he shared that there are a number of cluster-based programs, and as industry, we need to take benefits of these national programs. My big thanks to Mr. Jatin Sood, as his industry has become the flag bearer of cleaner fuel technology in the state, and his efforts are being emulated in the region. And as state, we really look forward to young industrialists like you for sustainable development of state. I would like to thank my mentor Shri Pritpal Singh and his team for organizing this successful event. Lastly, but not the least, I would like to give special thanks to our industries partners like Mr. Ashwini Kumar from Victor Handles Jalandhar, Mr. Tushar Jain, and our research institutes heads like Mr. A.P. Sharma, Mr. Sarabjit Singh, Mr. Banks. So I am sure that the participating industries professionals and students will be highly motivated to support the state's STI ecosystem for contributing towards Atmanirbhar Bharat. Once again, I thank you all for participating. Thanks. And if anyone wants to add something, otherwise we may end the session.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
So we end today's proceedings here. Thank you all. Thank you for joining today.